You are Locked On Mavericks Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Dallas, on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Well, after getting called out like a bingo number following Monday night's loss to the Nets, Anthony Davis called his own number with the game-winning runner with 3.4 seconds left to go. And then AD played a little D on Trae Young to clinch it. And the Mavs come up with a huge win at home over the Hawks, 120-118. Here we go. Welcome into the Mavs Postcast. Your team every day, and in our case, your team every single game. My name is Jeff Biggs, longtime NBA host and reporter. Thank you for watching Locked On Sports Dallas, your destination after every single game. You can also find us on the Locked On Mavericks podcast feed with the great work there by Nick Angstead and the crew. And coming up on our show tonight, lots to get to, so let's get right to it.
This is what you'll be talking about.
No doubt. After that bad loss on Monday night to the Nets, this was a must-win for the Mavs, and they were able to get it done. 120-118, the final. A monster game, a monster response for Anthony Davis. More on that in a moment. Also, the big news before the game, the return of Derek Lively, who, man, I'll tell you what, for a guy that had not played in an NBA game since January 10th, he looked terrific. And we'll talk about his performance. We'll talk about the Mavs bench and what they were able to do tonight. And again, with Sacramento dropping their third in a row and losing at Washington, the Mavs really needed to get this one at home before they head out on the road for two straight games against the Clippers in LA, and they pull it out and hold on 120-118. I'll tell you what, I mean, you can say what you want, and I know a lot of people are still really upset about the trade, and maybe you're not feeling the same way about the team right now, but I'll tell you what, all of these games, the last month and a half or so, have been pretty entertaining and pretty wild, to say the least. Monday night was not good the way that one ended, but man, another roller coaster ride in this one. And thankfully, the Mavs did what they needed to do and pulled this one out, 120-118. All right. What was the turning point in this game?
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
All right. Well, before I get into that, always want to say this. We want to hear from you via the comment crew. So please jump in, share your thoughts. That's what we're here for. We are here live. We want you to be a part of the show. We want you to participate in these shows. And again, we only have 5 regular season games left. I believe the Mavs are going to make the play-in. Easy for me to say now, right? No, I think they are, and we'll have obviously games after that. But in the meantime, want you to be part of the show, and so please jump in and be a part via the comment crew. All right. Well, the big news, as I said, was the return of Derek Lively, and Monday night was not a good night for Anthony Davis. I thought Nick Angstead did a great show kind of breaking down a lot of the numbers for AD, but needless to say, he did not look good. And if you heard his post-game television interview tonight, he admitted as much, that he's kind of going through not a physical issue right now, but more of a mental thing that's going on. He didn't elaborate on that, but clearly I think, he's clearly a guy that cares, that's sensitive, that wants to play well, that wants to make the fans feel better about him and about the trade and about the team and about their chances and all that. And I'm sure he's fighting a little bit because he's probably He's not all the way back yet, obviously, right? But I thought tonight he started really well, had 13 points in the first quarter. That was very good. And, he looked really good. And then at the end of the first quarter, he took that elbow above his right eye accidentally by Daniel Gafford and didn't end up coming back into the game until really just before halftime with about a couple minutes left. So he was off the floor and in the locker room for a long time. I don't know if that helped or maybe taking that kind of a break kind of refreshed him, but nonetheless, the Mavs were down at halftime, 72-67. AD ended up with 15 in the first half. Spencer Dinwiddie had 9 points and 9 assists, and Derek Lively ended up with 3 points. He ended up with 4 on the night in a total of just under 16 minutes for Derek Lively. In his return, 4 points for Lively, 1 block, and 5 rebounds. But the Mavs were down in the third, and they fell behind by 9 in the third before I thought a couple of things talking about AD and Derek Lively. I thought it was kind of AD's energy and what he was doing offensively and defensively. But I thought AD and then some really key rebounds by Derek Lively. I thought that was the difference. That was the key in kind of getting the Mavs going again, getting their defense going again. And that, I thought, turned the game around. And that ended up giving the Mavs a nice run. They went on a 10-0 run to take the lead. And they led after 3, 101-96. With a big third quarter. They outscored the Hawks in the third quarter 34-24. And then in the fourth, they went up by 12, did the Mavs. And then the Hawks kind of came back. It's like the Mavs went up by 12 and they kind of let their foot off the gas. And the Hawks took advantage, went on a 10-1 run. They ended up with they finished the game on a 22-7 run before the Mavs took the lead and won it. But it was not looking good. The Mavs were up 115-110, and then Spencer Dinwiddie had that bad missed 3. That was just a really bad shot selection there. And then he also missed a layup, and it was 115-113, and then the Hawks took the lead. And then remember, Klay hit the big 3, and then, of course, AD won it with that runner with 3.4 seconds left, and he did the job defensively on Trae Young as well, and that was the ball game. And what a huge win it was for the Mavs, 120-118. When we come back, we will get into our player of the game, and we'll talk more about this win tonight for the Mavs and some of the numbers. But again, this is one after, especially after that loss on Monday night to the Nets and the fact that Sacramento lost tonight at Washington. The Mavs really needed to get this win at home before going on the road for 2 tough games, and they did it 120-118. This is the Mavs Postcast. All right, well, we want to talk to you about what's going on over at Prize Picks and everything that they're doing right now. We can tell you with Prize Picks that baseball season now is in full swing, and there is no better way to get into the action than with Prize Picks, the best place for daily fantasy sports. Now, with Prize Picks, you pick more or less on at least 2 player projections, and if you're right, you can win up to 1,000 times your cash, whether it's strikeouts, RBIs, or first inning runs, Prize Picks keeps every game exciting. Now, you can build your lineup. Let's say you want to pick Aaron Judge for more than one home run, or Shohei Ohtani for more than one stolen base. It's that easy, and it's fast, it's simple, and you can set up a lineup under 60 seconds. And when you win, your payout is quick, safe, and secure. I always take advantage of their promotions like Taco Tuesday. Prize Picks offers discounts on select player projections for even more value. So download the app today and use the code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 off instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNBA for $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. And at Monarch Money, do you ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in. They're your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center, and you can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place, so you stop just managing your money and start building wealth. You can realize how much you are spending on food delivery. You can budget smarter. You can save more. The all-in-one convenience. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track your spending, and even plan long-term goals. The easy calibration, you can manage money with your partner, and you can track shared and personal accounts and set goals and stay on the same page without the stress. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNBA for half off your first year. All right, welcome back to the Mavs postcast. The Mavs get a huge win at home, 120-118, and that brings us to...
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
That's an easy W for AD for that one. Anthony Davis, 34 points, 15 rebounds, and 5 blocks in 30 minutes of play. So he went a little bit more as far as minutes, but it paid off in a big way. Again, 34, 15, and 5 blocks. And again, I thought his surge and his energy really led the way down the stretch when it looked like the Mavs, just their offense was flat. Their defense was not the same. They were not extending their defense like they were earlier in the game. And I thought AD's presence and kind of his leading the way were really a big part of why the Mavs were able to put on the brakes, stop the Hawks, and pull out the win, 120-118. So props to AD again, now that everybody's back except, I mean, it's incredible. I mean, you're thinking, okay, they're going to have everybody back tonight. Obviously, Kyrie is out for the season, but everybody else was going to be back, and PJ Washington was out with an illness. So Friday, they should have everyone back and in uniform, and they'll have 5 games to get this team together and see what they can do down the stretch before the play-in begins. I thought Klay Thompson, again, I've been talking about this for a while, that we're going to see big game Klay down the stretch, and I think we're starting to see that. 17 points tonight for Klay, including a really big three. Spencer Dinwiddie had a really big first half with 9 and 9, ended up with a double-double of 14 and 10. Kind of a quiet night again for Najee Marshall. We talked about Derek Lively and his return, but then the bench. I mean, the Mavs bench did a really good job, led by Jaden Hardy, who had a quiet 13 in 22 minutes. He had 3 threes. And again, he's a guy that, I mean, he can get hot in a heartbeat, and he can carry you. And so I'm expecting some big performances. I think there's more we are going to see from Jaden Hardy before this is over. Max Christie ended up with 11, as did Daniel Gafford. Daniel had 11 points and 6 rebounds in 20 minutes. Had moments, had some good putbacks. And again, it's going to take a little time, for all of them to figure out, and even Jason Kidd and the coaching staff. I know they've been working as a unit during practice, even before everybody was activated, but it's still going to take some time. But I thought Gafford had some moments, and poor Max, I mean, he had at least 2 threes that he was robbed, that went in and out. And so you feel for him. And I thought, very quietly, kind of lost in everything else, I thought Caleb Martin tonight probably had his best game as a Mav. Ended up with 8 points in 28 minutes, 1 3, but he did have a couple of steals, and I thought he was very active and very aggressive defensively and did a really good job. And that fourth quarter, little ugly. The Mavs were outscored 22-19, but they ended up still, because of that big third, they had enough to win 120-118. All right, that is going to do it for me. But again, huge win tonight for the Mavs. I will be with you again late Friday night after the Mavs take on the Clippers in their first appearance in the Intuit Dome. Hopefully you'll be able to hang out with me, and we will talk about that game afterwards. Nick Angstead and the crew, Isaac, slightly biased. They've had a really big week. They're going to be coming up with their show. And of course, they'll have a lot more tomorrow as we get ready for the final 5 for the Mavs beginning Friday night in LA against the Clips. But tonight, the Mavs win at home. Huge win over the Hawks, 120-118. This has been the Mavs Postcast.